car is no slouch, and if you do put your foot down, it does pull, and it pulls nicely. So this is my 2009 Audi S5 Convertible, and I've owned this car for about 5 years now. Well, that's not strictly true. The Audi S5 is no longer my car, but up until about a year ago it was, and it was my daily driver. And just recently, while editing some new videos for the channel, I stumbled across a review I recorded about a year ago and then promptly forgot about. But the more I think about it, I really did love that car, and I did go to the effort of filming a review after owning it for 5 years. It only seems fair to share it. So today we're travelling back in time to about a year ago to talk about the Audi S5 Convertible. It's the 3-litre supercharged V6 with a smart top, and it's done over 144,000 miles. Now, when new, this car boasted around about 330 horsepower, and I suspect a number of those horses have left by today. But having owned the car for 4 years now, I thought it'd be a really good time to do a long-term ownership review of it. So I'll be talking a little bit about the interior of the vehicle, the exterior, what it's like to own, what it's like to drive, and some of the things I love and hate about this car. Now, I've always loved how the Audi S5 looks. I think those looks hold up today, especially considering this car is now old enough to buy a lottery ticket. However, after several years of ownership, there are some things that really do annoy me. For some reason, the metal around the windshield here has gone all dull, and it looks pretty awful, and also is ridiculously expensive to replace, so it's staying as it is. I think the grey grille at the front would look a lot better in black, and the thing is absolutely covered in stone chips. But I think the car still looks mean. The soft top is cool, and with the smart top fitted, you can do this. Finally, it's actually a great place to sit. So if you own an Audi S5, this is where you're going to be spending most of your time, and frankly, it's not bad. This particular car comes with a black and red leather interior, and I think, considering how many miles this thing's done and how old it is, it's held up really well. There's no rips and tears, and frankly, it has to deal with my fat ass getting in and out of it every day. It's a pretty clean and comfortable place to be. It's got electronic adjustable heated seats, and because it's got the smart top installed, you can actually open and shut the roof up to 25 miles per hour, which in the UK, with the most unpredictable weather in the world, is pretty useful. The car can comfortably fit 4 adults and has a decent sized boot. There's also power in the centre console to charge your phone, but it is pretty antiquated inside. The GPS is ancient. I have updated it, but it's still pretty useless. There's no CarPlay or even Bluetooth audio, but you can fix this. But now I think is as good a time as any to hop in the car, take it for a drive, and talk about what it is like to own. So this thing is fun. It's not the fastest or the most exciting car in the world to drive, but you can definitely enjoy it. Now, before I get too much into the driving experience, I wanted to talk a little bit about how it came about me getting this car 4 years ago, 5 years ago now probably. So at the time, I owned two cars actually. I had a Mercedes CLC, reliable, okay to drive, but just nothing special. And then during lockdown, I think it was, I bought the Subaru Impreza WRX. It was a Hawkeye one, and it was a bit of a bucket list car for me. It's one of those things I'd always wanted. And that car, it was really fun. I don't know if you're familiar with the Hawkeye Imprezas, but they didn't really have that same Subaru burble that the older ones had. So of course, me being me, I put a stupidly large exhaust on it to try and get that Asbo burble that I like so much. That car was not popular with a lot of my clients, or at least I didn't feel it was. Anyone who doesn't know cars would just the guy had this blue thing with a big spoiler and a loud exhaust. And it quickly dawned on me that I needed something that kind of combined the sensibleness and looks of the Mercedes with the fun driving experience and four-wheel drive you get with the Hawkeye. And this is kind of what I landed on. And the great thing about the Audi is that it has got the same sort of speed, same sort of power. It's not as exciting in a drive, but it is still a nice car to drive, and it is still quick. It's still four-wheel drive. And this car had two things that I'd never had before. It was a soft top, and the other one was it was supercharged, which again was new to me. And I have to admit, I love this car. I mean, I'm 36 years old now, and in my sort of lifetime of driving, which is what, 18 years, I've owned about 26 cars. So before this, I was averaging a car every 6 months. So, you know, Audi must have been doing something right for me to be able to sort of not get the car itch as quickly as I used to, or at least
I'm getting older and more boring. Give me that.
If you're enjoying the video, please do subscribe to the channel. It means a hell of a lot. And if you like watching someone work on cars without really knowing what they're doing, reviewing cars that you can actually afford, and just fixing things on the driveway, then this is definitely the right channel for you to subscribe to. I plan to put out a lot of videos in 2026. I'd love to know in the comments if you've owned an Audi S5 and what you thought of it, or if you got something a little bit different. What would you choose if you were trying to pick a car in that kind of category? Anyway, back to the video.
So what is it like to drive? Well, like I said before, it's not the fastest car in the world, but this car is no slouch. And if you do put your foot down, it does pull, and it pulls nicely. And the gearbox on this thing is great. It's flappy paddle, 7-speed, dual clutch DSG. It doesn't feel like it's sitting there thinking about whether or not it should change gear. It just gets on with it, and that's what I like about these. If I was to take it and hit the kick down, immediately drops the gear, immediately pulls, and you're off, right? In the past I've owned BMWs, Mercedes, Audis of course, all with auto boxes, and they've all been pretty good. Some cars and some manufacturers make absolutely shite auto boxes, for lack of a better way of putting it. A little while back I was driving an automatic Renault, and it would be like, you know it should change the gear, it's time to change gear. I might just go off and make myself a sandwich or something first and have a think about whether I really want to, oh yeah, okay, I change gear then. It was that sort of delayed and crap that it was a horrible experience to drive, and you can sort of understand why here in the UK auto boxes got the reputation of being bad or worse cars, because if you were to say always have driven a manual car and then you hop in something like that Renault, you would never want to set foot in an automatic car again, because you'd think they're all like that, and understandably so. But I do think these gearboxes will change. And these things are supposedly a lifetime fluid, but that's pretty much impossible. It's lubrication, it's oil, it's cob, it's turning, it's, you know, anything where you've got metal and metal coming into contact, and you're using oil to lubricate it, that oil is always going to degrade eventually. So it probably is well past due time that we get that changed. So that's something quite important to get on with now. One thing I didn't really ever realise before I bought this is how much brighter the world seems when you're sat in a convertible on a sunny British day. It's rare. Britain is not the country for convertible cars as a general rule. If it's not pissing it down, it's not really England. But it is a nice experience, and when you can make the most of that nice weather, get out with the roof down, even on a cold night, it's actually quite nice to eat on. You can sit here with the wind deflector up. It makes a massive difference to the blow by you're getting as well as you're going along. It is a nice experience to be in, and that DSG box, that's that lovely fart. The car handles nicely, full-time four-wheel drive with a automatic locking diff. It is a fun car to drive. It handles well. You can chuck it around the corner with lots of confidence. Very little understeer, and you can get that back end to kick out a little bit if you want to. So if you're into that kind of thing, it's a really great car to drive around in. Reliability wise, it has thrown up the occasional engine fault, sticking flap on an inlet manifold, and a lot of that was because I stopped doing long distance drives. I think there was a lot of build up of carbon in the engine, and it could really do with a walnut blast, or otherwise the inlet manifold being replaced. The flaps on them are actually actuated by a triangular piece of plastic, so they can wear down over time, and this, as I say, has done over 144,000 miles. It's quite possible that's worn down, but other than that, it's never had any real sort of reliability issues. It's been a good car, to be honest. It burns a little bit of oil. Again, high mileage supercharged car, not massively surprised by that, and it's not a severe amount. It is just occasionally you do have to top it up. I suppose the other thing to talk about is probably running costs. Now, I'll level with you, you don't buy a 3-litre V6 supercharged car and expect to get 45 miles to the gallon, let's be honest here. It is a gas guzzler, it does drink fuel. Audi quote an average MPG of around 29.1. I see closest as 16 to 20. If fuel economy is something that bothers you, this is not the car for you. You can comfortably fit 4 adults in this car. It's the same as the Audi S5 Coupe in terms of space, but the upside is obviously you can get up and walk into this if you've got the roof down. Now again, I wouldn't go a long distance with adults sat in the back of the car, but for 2 adults, perfect. It will not comfortably fit a German Shepherd though, I'll tell you that for sure. And it's actually one of the reasons that I also want to change. It has got a pretty big boot. You can get a hell of a lot in there until you put the roof down. Now the roof drops down into this sort of casing in the boot. It does take up pretty much half of the boot space. So again, if you're looking for something to cart things around in, probably not the car for you, but you can stack stuff up at the back, and if you've got the roof down, you've got infinite space going upwards, so there is that.
If you're looking for a fun to drive and, in my opinion, good looking car, an Audi S5 is actually a really good choice. I don't think it shows its age, and it's got decent enough performance to keep up with modern traffic. You can pick up a good used example in better condition than this and lower mileage for around £7,000 to £12,000. And if I was buying again, I'd probably spend that little bit extra and opt for the V8. So remember, it is an older car, so don't expect people fancy mod cons like CarPlay, driver aids and driver assist, which I personally hate. But you can, obviously make the experience a little bit better with a few £100s and decent mods. So, for example, installing an upgraded stereo, that kind of thing. But it's not going to be, all singing, all dancing when it comes to technology. The technology is 15 years old and it does show. Okay, back in 2026 now, and you can buy an Audi S5 just like mine, only in full working order, for between £7,000 and £9,000. So let's take a look at the other cars available in that category for around a similar price. You've got the BMW 435i Convertible. The obvious rival is rear-wheel drive, which makes it more entertaining if you like that sort of thing, but considerably less capable in poor conditions. It's the more driver-focused choice. It's sharper, more playful, but also more demanding. Where the S5 is composed and planted, the 435 wants to play. It's a different character entirely, but if you want to feel more, buy the BMW. If you want to worry less, buy the Audi. You've also got the Mercedes E-Class Cabriolet. It's more of a grand tourer, less of a sports car. More interior space, more comfort, and more presence on the road. If refinement is your absolute priority over drive and feel, this is probably your car. But it doesn't have the S5's combination of performance and four-wheel drive composure. It's probably the choice you'd make when you've stopped pretending that you're going to drive it hard all the time. And of course, there's the Porsche Boxster. They're harder to run, potentially very expensive if things go wrong, but genuinely one of the best driver's cars ever made. If you want the best pure driving experience of the group, the Boxster wins. And if you want something that works every day in every condition and looks like a proper GT car, the S5 wins. For me, the S5 sits in the sweet spot between all of them. It's more composed than the BMW, more exciting than the Mercedes, and more usable than the Porsche. But my S5 didn't age gracefully. As I said, it had done just over 150,000 miles and it felt like it remembered every single one of them. The inlet manifold needed cleaning and it started juddering when pulling away, which if you know Audis and VW gearboxes, it's kind of a sign that things are going to get very expensive very soon. So, ride or drive? For me, a ride is something that gets you from A to B. It's comfortable, probably reliable, but maybe a little forgettable. A drive is something that involves you. It feels way more engaging. You feel like you're driving the car rather than riding in it. And a drive in that car feels like something you really remember. Every now and then, when the road was right, the roof was down, and you gave it everything, that car just remembered itself. Like it had been patiently sitting there in composed, civilized, sensible mode, and then suddenly recalled what it was actually capable of. The S5 is a drive, without question. And would I recommend one? If you want a fast, refined convertible that works well in all conditions, that looks special and makes every journey feel like an event, then yes, completely. But if you're buying a cheap one at 150,000 miles on a tight budget and hoping it'll be cheap to run, honestly, just walk away. I'm telling you as someone who's learnt hard in the expensive way. But if you can afford to run it properly and you want a car that makes a Tuesday morning feel like a special occasion, you will love it. Now, I kept mine for a year too long and I'm still glad I did. But for now though, I'm back in and working on the decidedly more boring, more sensible, and probably more reliable BMW 3 Series, and there'll be more on that in the next video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next week.